What's up, you guys? It's Deunta, episode 18. Deunta Red and Rave podcast show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sad news about Charlie Kirk, man. Sad news. So yeah, my podcast is dedicated to him. I did one yesterday. I'm gonna do one again today. I'm gonna go ahead and piggyback off black conservative perspective. Hope you guys enjoy this show. Once again, sad thing that happened, man. Should never happen.
I'm just flesh and bone, but more importantly, I'm a soul. And that soul is accountable to one being. I mean, I've had an unbelievably blessed life. Been doing this now, it'll be 12 years on June 5th.
Such a young man to do it.
So young.
Yeah, so praise God. I mean, I've been all across the world. I've met with world leaders. I've flown in Air Force One, got to know a president. I have an amazing family, the podcast, Turning Point USA, all that stuff. And so you experience that and you're like, what actually matters? What matters is your relationship with the divine, your relationship with your family, your kids, and maybe a close collection of friends, and your relationship with the truth.
How do you want to be remembered?
I mean, if I die,
everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
This morning I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had.
Charles is a great man. All he wanted to do was debate, educate, and bring common sense back to reality.
Fled. The FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis. Now, I understand there are a lot of questions about motive. I assure you that all leads, tips are being fully investigated. As of this morning, we have received more than 130 tips. We thank the community for that. The FBI has brought every resource to bear, and we will continue to do so throughout the course of this investigation.
All right, guys. So we got to continue our coverage of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Okay. And we're going to continue to talk about the manhunt for the suspect, because there's more information that has come out that can give us some clues in regards to why this happened and the ideology behind the shooter. Now, we're going to get into it again because there's more information that has come out. And also at some point, I am going to address directly the leftists who are celebrating this. But as of right now, I think that the main focus should be on finding this.
Yeah, man, you got the leftists out there, man, tripping, celebrating this man's death, man. That's crazy as hell. It makes no sense. Nobody should be celebrating death like that, man. These people are evil, man. This is why we, the people on the right wing conservatives, you know what I'm saying, believe in God. God gonna take care of this. God gonna be the man who did it. You know what I'm saying? These leftists want death. They want chaos, and you gotta pray for them. But they evil, man. That's why they call it DeuntaRantsRavesPodcastShow. You know what I'm saying? They bogus, man. This ain't right, man. They ain't right at all, man. They need some help, man.
Shooter, okay.
And then the thing about it, these are people that vote. You know what I'm saying?
And figuring out exactly why this happened, which we're getting some information about that, and going from there. However, I will say this, right, in the meantime, if I was a left-wing political commentator or influencer, I would be trying to turn down the temperature. I would be trying to turn down the temperature.
Yeah, turn it down. He's right. Come on, man. It's time to come together, heal, pray, come to understanding with each other. He was just about making sure that men and women understand that it's men and women, boys and girls. You know, you're not saying hate trans or gays or whatever alphabet mafia you guys want to call yourselves. It's not even about that. But it does make sense to have a family and have kids and be there in a great household, you know. And also, when I record live sometimes. So when I do also record, I record audio and also video. So once again, I'm on iHeart, Spotify. So my background might sound a little different as far as audio and also as far as video. But Let's continue. Like and subscribe.
But the unfortunate reality is that you do have people who do not realize where this stuff leads. That's the unfortunate reality. Again, I will go back to the assassination of the United CEO. I said at the time that you don't want to open Pandora's box where you start to normalize assassination culture, which is what is happening in this country. And leftists were celebrating it, just like they're celebrating this. And it's one of those things where once you open up Pandora's box, it is hard to fix this problem. And you have a lot of leftists right now who clearly are not thinking about the possible ramifications of openly celebrating a political assassination, while at the same time trying to justify it, claiming that, well, he said things that we don't like, right? That's what I'm hearing. And again, I'm going to address it more directly in another video. But my whole point is that these people are clearly not thinking about, well, what happens when my arguments, my justification of what happened to Charlie Kirk, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to justify it. What happens when somebody who disagrees with me starts thinking the same way that I think about what happened to Charlie Kirk? What happens? What type of world does that create? Clearly, people are not thinking straight right now. On the left, a lot of these people on the left are not thinking straight. So again, that's another video, maybe for later today, maybe for tomorrow. But right now, again, let's focus on the FBI manhunt because they had two persons of interest. They're calling them persons of interest now, not suspects, that they released. But apparently they have some information on the person they're actually after. And I want to go ahead and react to the FBI press conference that they had early this morning. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Just to recap yesterday's events, at around 12:20 p.m., political influencer Charlie Kirk was at Utah Valley University participating in a student-sponsored event with Turning Point USA. Charlie was shot at that event. He was transported to a local hospital where he later passed. Last night, his body was moved to the state office of the medical examiner. We will continue to facilitate movements to get him home today and with his family. Yesterday, during the investigative process, we located a couple of persons of interest. We interviewed those individuals, and after releasing them and after clearing them of being suspects, they face scrutiny, they face threats. We asked the public to be patient with the investigative process. These individuals were not suspects, they were people of interest. We ask that you do not impose into those people and that investigative process.
Yeah, man, I got questions about why were they persons of interest? Because, again, there were reports that at least one of the guys that they had detained said that he did it, right? Were they trying to serve as distractions, decoys?
And there's other videos around some dude named Body Language Guy, and he was saying that some dude in the crowd reacted weird in the crowd, whereas he bent down and then he had like posed for the camera and like posed towards where I guess the sniper was at. I guess it's another video you gotta check out. It's real crazy, man. So it's real sad, man.
Which again, it just blows my mind to think about the fact that there were people there as Charlie Kirk was bleeding out on stage that was celebrating. That's the crazy part about it. Like that, there were people there who thought that, oh, well, this is normal, this is fine, right?
No.
And who may or may not have been trying to obstruct, right?
No,
I actually believe, the first guy, the old guy that they detained, they actually charged him with obstruction. So he was trying to obstruct, which in and of itself is terrible. Absolutely terrible in real time. Now, again, they could have been a part of a larger operation. Again, this assassination seems more sophisticated than we previously thought. So again, they could have been a part of it. I don't know. But again, I think there's a lot of questions about why these people were persons of interest in the first place.
Don't deserve that harassment for being subject to that. I'd like to thank all the investigators that are involved in this. They have worked around the clock all day yesterday, through the night last night. Investigators from the State Bureau of Investigations, from county, from city agencies, the university, our federal partners with the FBI, the ATF, and many others. Those are just a few of the people that we have involved in this. I'd like to thank all of them for their strong work. Through all that work last night, we were able to make a few.
Thoughts and prayers out to the 9/11 victims as well. Thoughts and prayers, man. Prayers out to the family, 9/11 victims and family, man.
Breakthroughs. We were able to track the movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads. We do have good video footage of this individual. We are not going to release that at this time.
Yeah. So a lot of people wondering, like, why is it that the FBI is not releasing more information? Well, it's because they are confident that they can get the person, right? They don't need the media's help. They don't want leads or any type of information that will throw them off or that will be a waste of time. So they're actually pretty confident. The fact they're not asking for help from the public or anything like that, and they're not releasing any type of real description of the shooter or anything like that, outside of the fact that apparently the shooter is college age. They're not saying the race. They're not saying the gender, as far as I know, which again is pretty interesting considering how people are assuming on X, specifically on Black Twitter, that the shooter was white, and they're essentially trying to make fun of Charlie Kirk, claiming that this was white on white violence or whatever. Again, that's part of the reason why I really don't want to make a dedicated video to the leftist response yet, because there's just so much nonsense and crazy stuff being said that it's probably better to wait until we get more information. That way it can be thoroughly addressed. But again, the rumors is that, Charlie Kirk got taken out by his own kind, right? This is what they're saying. He was so worried about Black folks and he got taken out by his own people. And it's like, you don't know who did this. We have no clue who did this. Now, again, we all have clues about the ideology behind this. We're going to get into it, but we don't know. And there are people who are already declaring that the suspect is white and saying stuff that is not based on any.
Because all we know was he had all black on. That's all we know. So do y'all research. Don't just jump the gun.
Type of facts that we currently have.
We're working through some technologies and some ways to identify this individual. If we are unsuccessful, we will reach out to you as the media and we will push that publicly to help us identify them. But we are confident in our abilities right now, and we would like to move forward in a manner that keeps everyone safe and moves this process appropriately.
Yeah, I think that I'm pretty confident they're going to catch the guy or the individual, right? I'm pretty confident they're going to do that. Last night I was watching a video of a guy who was an expert at this, and they were saying that it's going to be extremely hard, just considering the geography of a state like Utah. It's going to be extremely hard for this individual to leave Utah. In fact, if this individual tries to leave Utah, it's actually more likely they're going to be caught because of the infrastructure, how the roads work in Utah. It's going to be really hard for this individual to get away. It's not really a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? The FBI catches this individual. And I'm hoping that if they get him, they get the individual alive, right? That way we can actually get some real justice administrated on our terms rather than on their terms. So from what the FBI is saying right now, again, I have confidence that they're eventually going to catch the guy at some point. Just based on everything that I've been reading and watching, It seems as if
Oh yeah, they own it, man. Charlie, one of them boys, man. He with them. He with Trump. He helped Trump in so many ways win the election with the young voters and all. You know what I'm saying? Especially with me back in the day when Charlie was, doing his thing then. So he's 31 years old, but he's been out here for a long time with a great impact. Man.
this individual will be caught sooner rather than later, hopefully.
Last night, I communicated with Erica. The family's devastated. As a commissioner of public safety, as a father, as a husband, I can only imagine what that family's going through. The heinous event that happened yesterday is not Utah. This is not what we're known for. Over the past several weeks, we've seen this state come together to help families in mourning, come together as a community to show what Utah is known for a state of character, of service, of camaraderie, of a neighboring feel.
Look at all those people, man. You know, a lot of people see one man for a good cause, man. Just want to debate, educate, bring back common sense. I'm going to keep saying that. They're always doing is bringing back common sense. When you go out to vote, common sense. When you go with anything out in the world, bring common sense to the table. Bring everything much better, better perspective. Common sense.
We will not stand for what happened yesterday. We are exhausting every lead. We have every officer invested in this, every investigator, every local agency. The outpouring of support from the law enforcement community has been astounding. We are investing everything we have into this, and we will catch this individual. Having walked through the crime scene, through the hallways of this school, through the classrooms, I can't imagine what the people on scene felt as well. A horrific event where some of them barricaded in classrooms, some of them ran in fear.
Crowd, man.
Some of them celebrating as well too, unfortunately. So I think we get the gist of what the FBI is saying, what law enforcement is saying. Now, what I really want to talk about is the ammunition, okay, the weapon that was recovered of the suspect. And that is going to give us some insight, is giving us some insight in regards to the motive behind this. So let's read here. Conservative political activist and author Charlie Kirk has died after being shot on stage during an event at Utah Valley University. He was going back and forth with a student about mass shootings involving transgender people when he was shot, according to the videos of the attack. Investigators found ammunition engraved with transgender and anti-fascist ideology inside the rifle. Sources said Justice Department officials cautioned that the investigation is still in its preliminary stages. Yeah, so this is a big deal. This is a huge deal because what this suggests is that this individual, at the very least, was a leftist. 100% was a leftist, and they were trying to...
See, there you go. And I believe we had a discussion about this before. My friend Fashawn, the Chicago conservative show, and on the panel we were discussing about how these transgenders out here actually killing people, and that's crazy, and that's because of mental health. It's because of mental health. What do we bring back in these asylums, man? These people need help, man. They need Jesus, anointing or something, because it's crazy.
In the message. They were trying to send a message specifically about the criticisms of woke ideology, including the trans movement, okay? And also on top of that, they expressed anti-fascist ideology, which means that this could have been, somebody that's a part of Antifa, right? Clearly, this was a far leftist, right? This was somebody that was radicalized. I mean, you have to be radicalized to do something like this. So I think that that's a given. But again, now we kind of have some direct evidence that, yeah, this was an act of left-wing extremism, right? And it was certainly political.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Us right-wingers or conservatives, we gun owners, and we don't go out shooting nobody far as left wings or Democrats. We don't do none of those dumbass shits. But y'all, y'all do it though. The leftists, you know what I'm saying? Y'all just ridiculous, man. Democrats, man. Y'all the ones doing all the violence, all the crimes. Y'all Republicans out here, y'all need to get some spines, man. Do better with these votes and these legislators. Y'all gotta do better, man.
Motivated. Now that doesn't mean that the individual was trans. It just means that at the very least they sympathize with the trans movement, and they were probably a part of Antifa, right? But once again, now that we know, okay, that this was politically motivated. I mean, I think that it was a given from the beginning of all this, but now that we have like actual evidence, alleged evidence, that this was politically motivated, that this was likely a left-wing extremist. The question is, will Democrats in the mainstream liberal media take some responsibility for this? Will they come out and admit that they were wrong for, first and foremost, coddling
I
people
doubt it.
with this type of extremist ideology that they refuse to acknowledge, right? They refuse to acknowledge that this exists, even though it is very clear. They want to deflect every single conversation about the clear issue that we have in this country with left-wing political violence. They want to deflect that, and they want to talk about everything else, while excluding the fact that there is no dispute about where a vast majority of the political violence in this country is coming from. There's no dispute, especially over the past 5 years. There has been no right-wing BLM where you had billions of dollars in property damage across the country. Dozens of people lost their lives as a result. There has been no right-wing Roe v. Wade riots. There's no right-wing Antifa. You had a Supreme Court justice almost be assassinated because of the Roe v. Wade riots. The current president of the United States was almost assassinated when he was running as a candidate. Twice. Not just once, but twice, probably more than that. That's what we know. That's what we know. And we know for sure at least one of them, again, inspired by extremist rhetoric of the Democrat Party, specifically around Ukraine. We know that for a fact. There's no right-wing version of the pro-Palestinian riots that have been happening in this country. The No Kings riots. You're not seeing that from the right. And yeah, I know these people will bring up, they'll say, well, look what happened in Minnesota. Look what happened to those Democrats. Did anybody on the right celebrate that? Did anybody on the right celebrate what happened to those Democrats? I don't remember anybody trying to justify and say, well, they had different opinions than me. They believed in hate and bigotry. They pushed policies that we thought were harmful. So therefore, hey, nobody on the right did that. I didn't see one conservative commentator say anything even close to that or celebrate what happened to those Democrats. And we really don't even know if that guy was a Trump supporter. He claims that he did it because Tim Walz told him to do it. So placing the blame on Trump and Trump supporters or MAGA ideology when we don't even have evidence that that was a part of that at all, it's just silly. And it's desperation to deflect from what clearly is a problem in this country that these people, the liberal media and Democrats, refuse to address. The left side of they become way too radicalized. We have data showing. I mean, Charlie Kirk went over this. That's the crazy part. We have actual data showing that almost half of these individuals think that assassinations are okay. They think it will be justified because they believe that they're good people, that they're the good guys. Except the reality is that they're actually the people that they claim are the bad guys. If you're celebrating this, you are the bad guy. You're not the good guy in this story. You're not. But the problem is that Democrats have allowed these people to think that they're the good guys, to think that their actions are justified. And they've done that by going along with this hyperbolic rhetoric because they can't win in the battle of ideas, claiming Trump is Hitler, his supporters are Nazis, fascists. And this is how we get to this situation with that type of political rhetoric that Democrats traffic in during the election, and they still traffic in it now. And at some point, We're going to have to acknowledge that this is a problem. This has to be a real thing that is acknowledged in this country, that left-wing extremism is out of control. These people are not the good guy. You're not the good guy if you're celebrating this. You are not. You are the bad guy. So this is where we're at. Again, maybe later today, I'll do a more direct video about the leftists and what they're saying. It's one of those things I'm really on the fence about it because I don't want to participate in spreading that type of hatred.
Yeah. The shit's crazy, man. It's really, really sad. The man just wanted to just have a simple conversation with people, man. Simple conversation. You can agree or disagree with him. That's all you had to do. You had to shoot him. You had to be mad about him. Wish anything bad on him. That's crazy. Pray for each other, man. Pray for each other, man. Like, subscribe, put God first.